everyone, and welcome to Tuesday's Tips with Laurie. Today I want to share a really fun project. I love this one. It's the Sunny's zipper pouch. This is made for sunglasses, of course, and I love this, and I'll show you the many reasons why in a minute. But before we get started, I just want to share with you, this is our Citrus and Sunshine curated collection, and this is really bright. It's got fun colors. It's just spring. It just makes me want to go out and have summer and spring right now. So if you can see, there's lots of different projects that come in this particular collection. I love this cloudy day right there. These cute baskets, and as you can see, they've got these darling little zipper pulls that you can make on the zipper, and as well as this cute lemon. You can see the leaf. So these are just some really cute projects. A lot of detail, a lot of attention to detail on these. There's the quilted baskets, as well as these clementine orange pillows. Just a lot of really fun, unique ideas. So to start with, I just want to show you, this is what you're going to look for when you go into your local quilt shop, or whether you're shopping online, because there are still a lot of shops out there that are shopping online with you. So I just wanted to share with you, there's just so much to this particular design CD. There's just a lot of projects, and they come in different sizes. We don't have every single size out here that we're showing you, so do check this out. You're going to notice that there's a CD on the first few. It's a small collection that have the CD, and then thereafter, when these are gone, it's going to be a USB stick that's available, and that will be shortly available. So to start out with, we're going to talk about the zipper pouch. So what I wanted to show you is, this is one thing I really like. It has a lining, and it's quilted on one side inside the lining. So if you notice, there's one lining color, and then the other side is actually made from the front piece of fabric. So you're going to see two different colors inside the lining, and here's why. You'll understand right as soon as we first start this first step. So to start with, we're going to start with a lightweight, you can use no-show mesh, no-show fusible mesh, just a lightweight cutaway of some sort. If you get too heavy of a cutaway, then it's not going to be a nice, feeling to your zipper pouch. So I really highly recommend a lightweight. All right, so after you've stitched it down and you've stitched your batting in place, in the instructions it'll say that you want to stitch this placement cutting line in a different color of thread, which I have done here. Now the reason for that is we're going to cut this out, and you want something contrasting to this batting color so it's easy to see in order to cut it out. And the way I start cutting it out, before I start cutting it out, in the instructions it'll say to extend this cut about a ½ inch. So I just use one of my marking pens, and I guesstimate about a ½ inch right there. And so I draw my line first, and the reason I do that, it makes it a little bit easier. No, it makes it a lot easier, I think, to keep that as a straight box. I have had somebody ask me, once I cut this little box out here, can't I just slit these two sides? And you really don't want to. It's going to pull your fabric this way, and it's going to pucker at the top here as well as at the two sides. So make sure that box is cut all the way. I'm going to start with my seam ripper. I like using this tool because you don't want to put your finger underneath a pair of scissors and jab it through, all the way through, might end up in your finger. But a seam ripper is made just for this very thing, and you could use a seam ripper all the way across. I prefer to get it started with my seam ripper and then cut with my scissors. And if you don't cut exactly on that line, no frets, no worries. It's not going to be the end of your project. You definitely will be just fine. And another question that has come up as I'm cutting this has been, why don't we just stitch that box? Like, why didn't we extend the stitches, right? All the way so that we don't have to draw lines or, cut past that. Well, the reason for that is this goes from 6.999, I believe, inches. So it's right at the very edge of our 5x7 hoop embroidery field. So if we were to have extended that line a ½ inch on either side just to make this cut box, then your whole project would need a larger hoop, which we don't want to do. We want to keep this in a 5x7 hoop for it's more accessible to more people. All right, so I'm just about done cutting this, and then I'm going to show you how you go about adding your other two pieces of fabric on here. Now, it's really important that you don't stretch this out when you're cutting, because just kind of keep it flat, make sure it's nice and flat. You don't want to be stretching and pulling this apart. Be gentle, be very gentle. So in the instructions, it tells you to take your 3 by, I can't remember what length this is, and you'll fold it in half, and you're going to iron it in half, wrong sides together so that the right sides are showing. And you're going to simply slip that through so that the fold is right here on the inside where you just cut, okay? So I gently put that in there. Now, as you can see, I want to tuck this fold just kind of, and I just kind of work it so that it's tucked right up against that cut. And as you can see, there's an opening. That's what I want to see, is that opening. The first thing I'll do is, and I love the Kimberbell paper tape, you're going to need this for this project, is you're going to hold that corner in place, and you're going to hold this corner in place. Okay, and I like to add just one more, just to make sure that when I pull from the back side, I'm not pulling this middle piece down so it's bowing. Okay, so that's my first piece. I'm going to do the same with my second piece. And this is not only creating the front of my Sunny zipper pouch, it's creating the first back side of the lining as well. All right, so gently, gently, because we don't want to pop this out of the hoop. We want it to be nice and flat so that we don't have any puckers in our end design. Okay, so just like that. Now I realize that when you are quilting, or you put this back in the embroidery machine to do the quilting, it's not going to really move on the top side. But the reason I'm taping it from the top side still is because when I flip it over to tape the back, I don't want to accidentally pull it through too far. And we want it to be snug. Okay, so I've got that taped in place. I'm going to turn it over. And as you can see, this is laying really nicely for me. I really like that. And just remember to finish taping all 4 corners, because we don't want that getting caught in our embroidery machine or being folded back. That will just not be happy. It'll ruin our design. Okay, I don't want you to push these hard from the back. I want you to turn your hoop over and then give it a good press to make sure that they stay. The reason for that is if you were to press from this top side, you could push it out of the hoop, and we don't want that either. All right, so once we get to this point, the next step that's going to happen in the machine is it's going to do some quilting here. And obviously your presser foot could catch right in here, right? So to prevent that from happening, rather than placing a full piece of tape and then having it quilt over that tape, and then you've got all these little tiny pieces to pull out, because it's very important to tape over this. If you will pull a piece of tape off that will fit that whole width or length, if you will, and then what I do is take it about 3/8 of an inch, and if you just give it a quick rip, it stays right at 3/8 of an inch. I love this Kimberbell paper tape for that very reason. And then I'm simply placing that right over, and I think I just stuck it to the table. I did. I'm placing that right over the top. So this is going to prevent the presser foot from catching, but it's thin enough it's not going to catch in your stitches. And I'm going to show you one that I've done already. So I'm going to swap spots here with these hoops. So right here, as you can see it's nice and thin right here. And the reason I wanted it thin, you can see this beautiful quilting. It's a sun with these beautiful rays coming off that way. And it doesn't come all the way to the fold, but it comes pretty close. And that's one of the reasons I did it that way. So if I pull this off, as you can see, it did not catch in any of my quilting stitches right there. And yet it held it in place where the presser foot did not catch. So that's something that I would recommend doing, is make sure you take your tape. And I do love this tape for that reason. It rips really nice right down. And did you see how long that piece was? And it still rips really quite evenly. Okay, The next step then is to place this lace zipper. And this is one of the things I love about this particular pouch isn't that just beautiful and classy with the lace zipper laying right over the top? And as you notice, some of these other zippered pouches we have, it's called an inlaid zipper. So you can see the zippers there, and it's actually inlaid in the project where it's got seams on either side. There's going to be seams on either side here, but we keep the lace zipper on the outside of the project so you can see it. So we're going to start out with how to place this zipper. So as you can see, there's an opening, and that opening is your placement area. There's not going to be a placement line that's going to happen before you place your zipper. So you're going to take your zipper teeth. So I just kind of pull it up so I can see where my actual zipper is, and I place it right down snug right inside that box that's been cut out. All right, and now one thing I do want to make sure that I do is keep this zipper outside of the box. And this is plenty long. I'm going to let it hang out a little bit longer. And then I tape this in place, and I'm going to tape it right down over the sidelines because I don't want the presser foot catching. Because the presser foot is going to stitch on one side and then it's going to move to the other side, you don't want it to catch, whether your machine's going to do it down here or on this side. Just be very preventative of getting your zipper caught in your presser foot, and just make sure that you've got those tapes on both sides. Now that you've got it down, it's going to tape and tack this down on both sides of the zipper, right here and right here. And then your zipper's held in place. Then you're going to pull your tape off, and you'll pull it off both sides. For today, since I don't have it stitched in place, I'm going to actually just pretend that it's stitched in place by using some extra tape. This point is when you would open your zipper, and you're going to open it to about 3/4 of the way. Now, as you can see, even if this is taped in spot, can you see how there's give? And I don't want this to open up while it's in the middle of stitching. So what I like to do, after I have opened my zipper up already 3/4 of the way, to prevent this from happening, I like to add a piece of tape, and it's on the outside of my project this time, just holding this so that it doesn't want to gap at all. That's when you'll add your back piece of your fabric, and it covers the whole project. And yes, another piece of batting. This is really important. The reason we have a second piece of batting is to give cushion to both sides of your zippered pouch. So it's got cushion on both sides. That's key. Okay, so once the batting has been placed, it's going to do a stitch that's a full outline of that zipper pouch, the sunglass pouch. And then you're going to just follow the same kind of guidelines that are in the instructions, where you place your back lining piece on the back side of the hoop, and make sure, of course, all 4 corners are tacked down again, or taped in place again. And then it will do a stitch again around it, but it will leave an opening this time. And that's where you'll flip your Sunny sunglasses case through that opening and then through the zipper. And voila, you will have this really, really cute Sunny zipper pouch. And I love it. I'm going to show you how great this is. Works for my glasses. I love this case. And there you go. Great Mother's Day gift right there, you guys. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week on Tuesday's Tips. Bye-bye.